TikTok and even Facebook would have you believe that JiYu is the next big thing in K-beauty and Korean skincare, but TikTok in particular is full of people talking about how amazing JiYu's toning pads are, how special the ingredients are, and how they've seen such a drastic improvement to their skin in all sorts of different ways, right? There are a lot of claims, but if you've seen enough of the posts promoting this brand, then like me, you've probably noticed that something feels off about JiYu. There are a ton of red flags around the way this brand is marketed online, particularly on TikTok and Instagram, and actually on the brand's own website. And those red flags have made me question a lot of the claims made about JiYu to the point where I'm not even sure they are a Korean skincare brand like they want you to believe. So I've been going on about JiYu toner pads for the longest time, especially on TikTok. So today I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to kind of like take a deeper delve and share with you some of my research into how JiYu is kind of like presented online, what marketing tactics they use that make it feel like such a huge scam, what's actually in the products, and if they can genuinely do all the things that they say these toner pads can do, and ultimately whether or not anything this brand says can actually be trusted. Because I don't like them so far. Okay, let's talk about JiYu's, how they present themselves on TikTok first of all, seeing as that's where pretty much everyone knows the brand from. Start with the brand's own TikTok page, which seems to be their main social media channel, kind of one of the only ones, and it's interesting. It's an interesting page, let's say. You know, instead of the usual kind of content you'd expect to see on a skincare brand's social media, like real reviews from influencers, you know, close-up artistry kind of shots, product shots, brand founders, the staff using the products, you know, talking about the behind the scenes and the products, that sort of thing, you know. Instead of that, JiYu's TikTok seems to be just almost entirely clips from their lives, like promoting their lives, their shopping lives, which seem to be pretty much every day, like all the fucking time. So instead of the like usual marketing that tries to build a brand that people can connect with, tries to educate consumers or anything a little more subtle, JiYu seems more concerned about just getting sales, getting them in the pushiest manner possible, and arguably one of the most annoying. I do like TikTok shop lives, but every single day, all the time, it gets to a point. That's it, it gets to a point. Their lives consist of a presenter just constantly trying to sell the products. I mean, that's the point, but running flash sales to get people to like panic buy and buy straight away so you don't miss out on like an amazing deal, an amazing discount. It's all very pushy, very QVC, which I love QVC. Now, their own TikTok page actually has a decent amount of followers. It has 79,000 followers, but if I'm honest, you're probably most likely to have come across JiYu from the many paid partnerships or commission on paid posts kind of videos about it, you know, the TikTok shop banner thing. It's actually pretty similar to the tactics we talked about last week used by Dr. Malaxin, and Dr. Malaxin has flooded TikTok with micro influencers promoting their products because they can earn a commission on sales. And JiYu has basically copied this strategy, actually, if not being there way before, because they've been around for a while, and they seem to be mostly either paying creators up front for these reviews, paying them in free products, or a combination of the both and commission. Now, this isn't an issue. We know that. That's fine. Influencers work, as long as those creators are allowed to give an honest review of the products. But that never ever seems to be the case, just like with Dr. Malaxin. A lot of these posts about JiYu are very similar, including quite a few people talking about how using them to bleach private areas.
Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab these and then you're gonna go like this. Because nobody wants back there looking like a chocolate starfish. I found those Korean toner pads from JiYu, and literally, you guys, when I'm telling you, I look like a pink starfish now.
Bestie is a bottom, and he said that this gets him so many compliments from his man from how bright his back door is. Apparently, because of the insane brightening properties, they also work for other areas of your body, plus they're safe.
You wanna know what it looks like before and after I use the viral butthole bleaching pads? Here's before, and here is after. These are the JiYu skincare pads. They're from Korea, and you know the Koreans literally know what they're doing. I mean, Asian don't raisin for a good reason.
And actually, people started doing this with Dr. Malaxin too, and even when they aren't talking about bleaching the private areas, the posts are often still very similar to each other and don't at all feel like an honest review. It's that copy and paste This is the viral hook. Instagram is even worse. Instead of the same scripted videos that you find over on TikTok, a lot of the Instagram reels about JiYu seem to rely much more on using AI to try and trick you. And I always say this, and I know this sounds really, really bad, but AI seems so prevalent on Facebook and Instagram because that's where a much older audience seem to sit. And when you look through the comments, people don't realize it's AI. These posts, they're either pretending that they've had some amazing glow up using all AI generated images, which I'll be honest, are getting scarily real nowadays, or they're those really dodgy carousels that use AI and pretend that their dad was a heart surgeon for 50 years or something. We've seen those before, right? And for some reason, he's a heart surgeon, but he says you should use JiYu toner pads because they're the only thing that works for dark spots. Somehow relevant. Somehow his years in experience as a fake heart surgeon makes him an expert in skincare. I don't know. They never really make sense. It's that, I've been a butt surgeon for 50 years. Use NNM, or whatever it's called. And at the end, of course, there's a link to Amazon or something in the description where they get commission for these pads. And if you don't believe this is AI, well, this reel is apparently the same woman. Now, all these accounts are linking to sales pages for the real JiYu products. So it's not just that these people are using dodgy tactics to promote a fake version of something. The real JiYu is happy with people promoting their products like this. And to me, you can't trust any brand that either encourage this or accepts creators using AI and lying to consumers in order to sell their products. Now, if you thought their website would be any better, and unfortunately, no, it's not at all. The website might not be quite as blatantly misleading as their presence on social media is, but there is definitely some questionable things going on there that make me very, very skeptical about the brand's legitimacy. Like for starters, let's have a look at the website here. Built on clean science, which we know is annoying in its own right. Everyone knows I hate the clean skincare thing, but that's a separate issue, right? That's its own thing. They make a point to say that they use research-backed ingredients that provide real results, that they blend cutting-edge dermatology with time-honored Korean rituals, and basically making a big deal about the brand being science-backed and clinically tested. So what makes me skeptical about these claims? I mean, this is a claim that every brand makes. Their dermatologists founded or, approved, clinical data, blah, blah, blah. And that's not usually about the products themselves. It's usually just the raw ingredients that they bought. So it's got nothing to do with the brand themselves. But what makes me skeptical about these claims even more so, they actually have a page on the website called Our Science, which you would assume goes into more detail about the science behind the brand, seen as it's allegedly a huge part of their big ethos, right? What's actually on their science page though? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's blank. There's nothing there. It's just no science at all. No, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Maybe it's just an error with the website. So I had a look in their FAQ section to see if they've got maybe a bit more detail about the science behind the brand. So in the ingredients and safety tab of their FAQ section, you can find a little bit of information about what KH Rejuvenate is. It's apparently their trademark proprietary complex of 8 clinically backed actives. There are some issues there as well as we get into this a little bit further. But what about the actual science behind the brand? Well, one of the FAQs is, are your formulas dermatologist tested? Maybe that will give us a bit of an insight into things, right? And it just says, yes. It just says yes. Yes, I hope for a bit more detail, but apparently that's all we get regarding JiYu's scientific credentials. So even that, as far as science goes, dermatologist tested, as we know, doesn't mean anything. A dermatologist could have used it and be like, what the fuck is this shit? Is dermatologist tested? It doesn't matter what they thought of it. But yeah, we just get a yes. So for this groundbreaking science, the information is yes. Now, they've actually got a blog on their website as well. So I thought that maybe I'd find some more information about the brand there. Come on, I should not have got my hopes up really, because their blog consists of a total of 5 articles, all of which were posted on January the 24th, 2026. And they're all a variation on the same thing, like the best 5 Korean toner pads, best 5 Korean toner pads for every skin type, etc., etc. The content is almost exactly the same in every single post. And surprise, surprise, JiYu is listed as number one. The number one toner pad in every single article. Shocking, who would have thought? None of them list like an author or make any real attempt to pretend that these are real unbiased articles. They are the fakest, most generic ads posing as articles that I think I've ever seen. The only possible reason I can think for them to exist is that it helps with SEO or something like that. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Now, if all of that isn't enough to make you feel like there's something a little bit dodgy going on behind the scenes here, because to me at the moment, this is feeling like a couple 20-year-olds got together, shipped some product off AliExpress, quickly created a website for SEO reasons, a half decent social media, and they're calling themselves a brand, right? But it gets dodgier. All you have to do is go and look at the reviews on their website. If you go on either of the product sales pages on the website, you'll find the reviews people have left through purchases they've made on the website rather than TikTok Shop or Amazon. They've got about 217 reviews and every single one of them is 5 stars. Something doesn't feel right about that. Something does not feel right about that. No brand has 5 stars once they've got more than a handful of reviews. Are you telling me that not one single person out of 217 people even just gave it a 4-star review, reacted badly to something? Even the best products on the market, go to Space NK, you will see a variation of mixed reviews, because that's life, that's skin, that's people's skin, right? What makes this even more suspicious to me is that if you go to their Amazon page, you've got a much more realistic rating of 4.3 stars, which is still really good, but there are also enough negative reviews are mixed in to kind of make it feel a bit more normal and natural, like you'd expect. It's not a bad thing, you just expect a mixed batch of reviews. There are actually quite a few people who seem to have had an issue with this product, either saying it caused them to break out, that they don't deliver the results that they promise, and basically calling them a scam and a gimmick that doesn't work. In fact, 9% of all reviews on Amazon for the toner pads are 1 star. So there's definitely something suspicious, in my opinion, happening over on the JiYu's website. I went back and scrolled through all of them. And I noticed that all of them have a little green circle with a tick in it and verified next to it. So I've got to question, and this is just speculation, but who's verifying these reviews? Presumably JiYu themselves, so they are only verifying the 5-star reviews, so those are the only ones that show up, right? I mean, it usually means like verified, we can verify they purchased this, but you still have to approve that. Like if you give them anything lower than 5 stars, then they probably just don't verify it? I don't know. But this is a big red flag to me. It would explain why there's such a noticeable difference between the reviews on their website versus Amazon and even TikTok. So those are the main issues I have with the website. There are a few other minor things, like the fact that they say you can find them on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook with the handle JiYu Skincare, but their actual name on social media is just JiYu Skin. And their Instagram and Facebook pages only have 1 or 2 posts and a handful of followers. They clearly just don't use those social media channels anymore, probably because they're utilizing TikTok so much. But it's little things like that for a brand that's so viral and so big, these little mistakes are kind of weird. They're kind of like, it just all feels a bit rushed and fake. But the questionable legitimacy, let's say, of their reviews, the fake blog articles, and the lack of any information about the science behind the brand are my main issues with the brand's website. And to be honest, after seeing that, I'm not surprised at all that they're promoted on social media in the way they are. Okay, so at this point, everything I found about JiYu had me questioning if anything they say can be trusted. The heavy reliance on questionable marketing strategies, the pushy sales tactics in their constant TikTok lives, and the whole mess that is their website. So I wanted to have a closer look at the actual ingredients in these products. What kind of results can you actually expect? And if there really is anything special about what they're doing? No. Okay, so let's start with the toning pads, as that's what JiYu is best known for. First of all, I want to talk about this apparently trademarked KH Rejuvenate that I mentioned earlier. JiYu claims that this is a proprietary complex of 8 clinical proven actives designed to fight visible signs of aging and restore skin's youthful vitality. That all sounds very impressive and scientific, right? And usually what these trademark blends are is just a blend of ingredients. And the ingredients included in here are good ingredients. They're good. They're very good. But I wouldn't say that there's anything particularly special about them. I don't know why they felt the need to trademark this, to be honest with you. The blend includes niacinamide, snail mucin, Centella asiatica, licorice root extract, alpha-arbutin, madecassoside, 3-O-ethyl ascorbic acid, and a peptide complex. All of these are so commonly used in modern skincare, especially in K-beauty. Of course, JiYu will say that they're the only ones who have worked out this exact blend and combination of ingredients, which apparently, allegedly makes this product so effective. But really, most of the time when brands go on about a proprietary blend, they're just trying to sound fancy. It's also obscuring the fact that the actives are only included in relatively small amounts. More trustworthy brands will just tell you what the concentration of their actives are, usually included, rather than just trying to hide it from you. And anyone could copy this formula if they wanted to. Like, JiYu doesn't have a patent for this complex, and despite trying to trademark the name K8 Rejuvenate, the application was actually refused by the US Patent and Trademark Office. Maybe because it's shit. Maybe because it's really bad. I probably have about 10 products with this exact mix in. Like, this isn't... I mean, it's nice. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's a nice combination, but it's like, whatever, you know? This just all seems like a bit of a desperate attempt to me by JiYu to seem like they're doing something innovative and scientific, when really they've just smashed a bunch of popular actives together into one product because it's good for marketing, to say that you've got all of these like trending ingredients in there. Again, this isn't something that JiYu just do on their own. This is what brands do all the time. But everything about this seems to be so careless. I don't know how to describe it. It all just seems like someone's playing pretend, like someone's been like, should we just make a skincare brand? To be honest, it does just feel like another brand jumping on the Korean skincare bandwagon without having any real direction or purpose behind it. Instead, just trying to tick as many gone viral Korean skincare boxes as possible. As I said, like, don't get me wrong, like there are good ingredients in here. Their uniqueness is just being blown out of proportion. Let's have a look at the ingredient list. So niacinamide, high up on the list, which can obviously help with all sorts of things, improving skin barrier, brightening dark spots, help with pores, excess sebum. Again, depends on the concentration. So the website does actually list NAD+ as one of the actives in the complex, but I don't see that on the ingredient list. So I think they're banking on the idea that niacinamide gets converted to NAD+, but I don't think it's quite that simple. Sodium hyaluronate is included twice for some reason near the top, and then again much lower down. I'm not sure why they've done that. Alpha-arbutin is also included quite high up, which supports skin brightening. Great for pigmentation. Licorice root and 3-O-ethyl ascorbic acid also support this, but are lower in the list. Has some good humectants, anti-inflammatory ingredients like Centella and madecassoside, both fairly high again, as well as snail mucin, which is much lower down. Overall, the formula is fine, it's not bad, and you're probably going to see some decent results. That's not what I'm questioning here. I mean, that's assuming you don't have a reaction to, honestly, the kind of ridiculous amount of actives going on in here. We've definitely seen some people reacting to this. Some of the feedback I've got from my TikTok is not good, but you aren't going to get these crazy 7-day transformations like all these TikTok and posts and Instagram reels claim you're going to get. And it's similar with JiYu's only other product, the anti-aging moisturizing cream. Like, the ingredients are fine. Probably a decent moisturizer, but it's not the groundbreaking product that they're trying to make it out to be. They claim that with this product, they're bringing NAD to topical skincare for the first time, which is just a complete lie. Like, that's just not true. They definitely aren't the first brand to use NAD+ in a topical skincare product at all. There have been several brands that did this before JiYu even existed. Like, they need to calm the fuck down. This is what I mean. It seems like somebody who create this brand isn't actually involved in the skincare world at all. Looking at the ingredient list again, just quickly on this one, it's a decent moisturizing cream, niacinamide, hyaluronic acid in various forms, molecular weights, glycerin, adenosine, shea butter. It is a normal looking moisturizer. I don't get it. But of course, there are people all over TikTok and Instagram making these ridiculous claims about what this product can do, the product's efficacy, with some even posting allegedly amazing before and after results from using this product when it had only just been released. And this person even admits in the video that JiYu is just jumping on an ingredient trend by releasing a product that focuses on the inclusion of NAD+.
Like, NAD is like the popular thing right now. PDRN and then NAD is a new thing and JiYu just jumped on it and they got it.
So if the products themselves are likely fairly decent, right? If not necessarily anything groundbreaking, then why all the scammy tactics? Why the AI? Why the over-the-top claims? Why pushing the science-backed narrative without any evidence or information and the potential hiding of bad reviews? Why all the underhanded tactics if the products can speak for themselves? Well, I kind of think it comes down to the reality of what this brand really is and who is actually running it. You've probably noticed by now that JiYu positions itself very firmly as Korean skincare, a Korean skincare brand. But like I said at the start of this video, I don't think that claim is true. In fact, it's not at all. Now, JiYu does have a meaning in Korean, kind of. When you Google JiYu, the way the brand spells it, capital J and capital Y, only the brand comes up. But a quick little Google search of what JiYu might mean in Korean tells you that it's a more popular modern Korean woman's name, and it actually derives from Chinese, and roughly means wisdom, wealth, and happiness. K-beauty, genuine K-beauty brands don't just kind of pick a Korean word that sounds nice for their brand, and they're often English or a made-up word. JiYu is registered in the US, it's owned by a US company, Living Earth LLC, based in Missouri. Everything to do with the brand appears to be based in the US. And I did go on a hunt for the brand founders, but honestly, they're a bit of a mystery, but from what I can tell, they all seem to be American, so it's making me anxious. Whilst we were researching for this video, I found it strange that I found almost no information about the founders of the brand and their story, mainly because they're not Korean. Most skincare founders love to talk about how they created the brand, what inspired them, the journey, the ingredient story, and this is a great marketing tactic too that nearly every brand has adopted, especially on TikTok. But these founders barely seem to exist. I could only find a couple of tiny pieces of information relating to the founders, and to be honest, calling it information is a bit of a stretch here. One was this photo of one of the co-founders on LinkedIn. So we have that. I can't seem to find her actual profile on LinkedIn. I don't know much about LinkedIn, so I'm probably doing it wrong. I don't know how to use it. It sounds like a hellscape, to be honest with you. But I could find profiles of some of the other employees listed, but not all of them. So all I've got is a photo, no name, no background, no founding story. The only tidbit of information I've got is that she clearly isn't Korean and that she's based in the US. There are 6 employees listed on this page, and it says that all 6 employees are based in the US. Kind of stretched around the US by the looks of it, so obviously this includes the founder. Who the other co-founder is, I have no idea. She doesn't seem to exist on anything linked to JiYu at all. And just quickly, while we're on the subject, their LinkedIn is very sparse. Probably unsurprisingly, they have no posts, hardly any information in the about section, basically nothing there. They just seem to exist to exist. That's it. The only other thing I could find was one sentence on the website saying this: fascinated on the trip to South Korea, 2 female entrepreneurs launched their own brand. Do women refer to themselves as female? Fascinated on the trip to South Korea, 2 female entrepreneurs launched their own brand. Why does this sound so weird? This sounds so weird. Like that, what is that? That's so weird. The sentence itself doesn't even make sense to me. Written by AI, probably. This honestly seems to me like the most pathetic attempt to point out that the brand is female founded, female, while trying to hide the fact that it isn't really a Korean brand, but an American brand attempting to cosplay as K-beauty. Sometimes you'll see the brand and the many creators who promote it lean more towards saying that JiYu is a Korean inspired brand. That seems to be a fairly new thing, but a lot of the time they just outright state it's a Korean brand or that it's K-beauty. The brand's own website claims it's 100% Korean. 100% Korean, and their LinkedIn page describes JiYu as authentic Korean skincare. The truth is really that this is one of the most inauthentic brands I think I've ever come across in almost every single way, but especially when it comes to the claim that this is a Korean brand. There's no Korean manufacturer named anywhere, no offices in Korea, no registration with Korea's version of the FDA, no trademarked patents for JiYu products in Korea. They're not on any of the trusted K-beauty retailers like Olive Young or Yes Style, and people who live in Korea are saying that the brand is nowhere to be found there. There's nothing Nothing I could find that actually linked the brand to Korea in any meaningful way. You know, when a lot of these brands nowadays say that they're K-beauty inspired or the Korean ingredients, they are at least manufactured in Korea. And there are a lot of Western brands who are manufactured in Korea who don't even mention that. I believe Bulldog in the early days were manufactured in Korea. They never mentioned it. They didn't claim they were K-beauty, but a lot of things are going to be manufactured in Korea because they just make skincare so well. In fact, actually, the brand could probably say that they're manufactured in Korea. They even say on their website that from the ingredients to the packaging, every part of JiYu is sourced, formulated, and crafted in South Korea. Again, this might be true, but I cannot find anything, any evidence other than the brand stating it themselves. And given how much else they've lied about everything, I'm not inclined to believe them here, I'll be honest with you. But if we give them the benefit of the doubt, having your products manufactured in Korea doesn't make you a Korean brand, because it isn't. There are so many brands that manufacture their products in Korea because that's where they have good labs. You know, like certain people make certain things in China, a lot of cosmetics will come from Korea. It doesn't make it K-beauty. If that were the case, we could class a lot of what Estee Lauder, L'Oreal, and Maybelline have made as K-beauty. K-beauty is an entire philosophy built on decades of Korean skincare culture, innovation, and routines. It's not something Western brands can just adopt by association. In my opinion, it really has to come from the culture that created it. Otherwise, you're just a brand that's made in Korea, and there's a shit ton of them. If I'm honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if JiYu turned out to be a generic white label formula that isn't exclusive to them and kind of ran a really successful marketing campaign for it, somehow making it one of the most popular skincare products on TikTok, despite it being nothing special. They're fine. And the very, very mixed reviews actually as well. This is obviously speculation, but there are quite a few things that point this to potentially being the case. The vague founding story that consists of one sentence that doesn't really make sense is one for a start. This kind of thing is very common with white label brands because they don't really have a founding story. It's not a passion project for the founders, just an attempt to profit off of something low effort and unoriginal. The vague scientific and clinical testing claims with absolutely zero evidence or even just detail about what this means is another common indicator. All the formulation and testing is done ahead of time by the manufacturer. The brand that buys that formula and sells it under their name likely didn't do any of their own testing, didn't do any research or development or develop any aspect of the formula. So their science-backed claims remain vague, probably because they don't really know. Usually if the product is sourced from a white label manufacturer, the brand won't disclose any details about the lab or the chemist that formulated the product, whereas a brand that actually did develop their own product, did hire chemists to work on it, do have a lab where they formulated it, they usually want to talk about that. They usually show off about that because it's interesting and adds credibility to the product. The fact that JiYu has very little to say on its own website is a red flag to me. It's common for white label brands to have websites that lack any real detail, any real community building, that offer little to no education to consumers, that aren't transparent about anything to do with the behind the scenes of the story or the brand. And lastly, it's incredibly common for white label brands to market their products in the same way JiYu has been doing. The marketing does the heavy lifting because the product itself usually can't. They rely on those TikTok viral hooks and the glamorification of the most basic things.
To the woman saying she's brightening her back door with this, where did you come from? Because I owe you my life.
The anti-aging miracle. I'm almost 30.
This is day 63 of using JiYu to get rid of acne scars, hyperpigmentation, discoloration, fine lines, wrinkles and under eye bags, and dark spots.
They resort to those scammy tactics of lying and misleading the consumers because otherwise they'd have nothing that makes them stand out. They resort to flooding social media with as much content as possible, regardless of how fake it is, because getting it seen everywhere is how they get consumers to take notice. Just seeing it over and over and over again eventually makes a lot of people assume it must be trustworthy, when often that just is not the case. This is also one of those brands that you see a lot of off-label versions of on places like AliExpress, Temu, Amazon. It does look like they've bought this product and stuck their brand on it. Or are people trying to copy their product because it has gone so forcefully viral? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just wrong with all this speculation after all. I doubt we'll ever find out the complete truth behind this brand because no one seems to be behind it. All I know is that JiYu desperately wants you to believe it's a leader in Korean skincare innovation, but they'd have to actually be Korean and they'd have to actually be innovative for that to be true. Well, that's all I got for you today. I think I'm done on my deep diving, potentially scammy TikTok products for a little while, but let me know what you think about JiYu in the comments. Have you used it? Are you buying the Korean branding? Are you sick of people trying to sell you these products on social media? Because they pop up all the fucking time. And most importantly, do you think they'll ever fill in the science section of their website? I hope so one day.